welcome to our introduction to postnatal Pilates and yoga. First of all, congratulations on the birth of your baby. And hopefully these short videos are going to help you as this transition from your antenatal classes over the next 6 weeks up until being able to join a group class. So these are designed to be able to be done from day one of childbirth, but obviously everybody's recovery is different and one pregnancy to another can feel quite different. So just take it easy on your body, just to be aware if you have had a C-section or an episiotomy and there's any tears or stitches that you're recovering from, then again you might find that you start some of these exercises a little bit further down that first 6 weeks. Again, these are an introduction for those of you that have taken part in the pregnancy courses, so you're aware of the exercise programs that we've covered previously. These are not instead of to replace our 6 weeks onwards courses. If you are struggling with pain or discomfort, or you're unaware of what you should or shouldn't be doing, we also have our postnatal MOT assessments, which I normally recommend that you do before you attend a class anyway, and that's a full head to toe postnatal specific assessment to help you start to return to exercise safely. First of all, what we're going to do is work on recapping over our pelvic floor and the breath work. So this is our exercises for the first kind of couple of weeks that we can start straight away. Using the pelvic floor exercises straight off from birth, if your body will allow, is a really nice way of getting blood flow into the area to help with tissue healing for the pelvic floor. But more importantly, it's just getting that brain, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor to talk to one another. But the breath work's also useful for relaxation and rest at the moment. So if you aren't getting the sleep that you need, this might just be your little kickstart to help you throughout the day. So I'm going to teach these exercises on my back like we use in class, but you can do these in sitting, and the breath work and the pelvic floor work is really easy to do whilst you're feeding. So if I'm laid on my back, I've got my block or my little buckle cushion underneath the head just so that the spine is nice and long, and I've got my knees bent with the feet hip width apart. But if you'd rather do that with the legs out straight with a cushion underneath, that's also okay at this point. So let's just bring a hand towards the upper belly and a hand towards the lower belly. And feel free to close your eyes if this feels more comfortable for you, and let's just breathe. And again, just feel where the breath travels into the body. How it makes you feel, maybe any stiff spots, sore spots that you're holding on to. And then if we remember, our breath work should be into the belly, the sides and the backs of the ribs. But we're not going to take as deep an inhale at the moment at this stage postnatally, particularly if you have a diastasis. So I don't want this big belly breath. So let's go for about a 3/4 inhale compared to what we would normally do. And again, if you remember, we normally do that in through the nose and out through the mouth. But if your sinuses are bunged up, then just breathe whichever way is best for you. And if you're feeling like you're struggling to find the breath in certain areas, maybe the sides of the ribs or behind, you can just move your hands around just to give you that feedback into the breath. So let's just take 5 full breaths in and out here, just using that 3/4 inhale through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth, nice and steady. And each time you breathe out, just try and give the body permission just to let go. Feel yourself relaxing into the mat below. And as you exhale, just see if you can lengthen that exhale a little bit longer than the time it takes you to inhale. Good, let's just take one more here. Just feeling the body and the mind starting to slow. Good. And remember as well, you could do this with baby just resting on your tummy, if that's comfortable for you. And so
sometimes as you start to slow the breath and soothe, baby will soothe with you as well. So that's another way of fitting that in at the moment. So now let's recap on our pelvic floor. So remember, it's our diamond shape. We've got north as our pubic bone, south as our tailbone, and east and west as our sit bones. And we're going to start pulling up through the center of that pelvic floor, and we do that on that exhale. So just nice and gentle, 10-20% contraction to start. Breathing in that 3/4 air, and then exhale. Just feel if you can start to feel that lift and release on the inhale. And again, depending on the type of delivery that you've had, you might be feeling something happening there, or there might not be a lot. But remember, as we work with the breath, we're just changing that pressure gradient around the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, so there will be something happening. Those of you that have had tears, then again, just start really gently with this contraction. If you've had a C-section, we don't want to be fixing or pinning backwards into the floor. And if you're not feeling a lot happening around that pelvic floor lift, the other way is just feeling like your hip bones are coming together. And I like to physically do that with my hands on that exhale. So I take a breath in, and then as I breathe out, I just slowly feel my fingertips coming together and just increasing that little bit of pressure into that lower abdominal and pelvic floor area. So particularly C-section people, this might feel quite nice for you. But I'm not pressing hard. I don't want any pressure over the scar. It's just that feeling of almost bringing the corners of the scar together. And if that feels too strong for your C-section, then give it another few days or a week or two before you start to focus a little bit more on that lower abdominal area. So let's try and bring that focus back into the pelvic floor. So again, another 5 full breaths in and out here, where we take that 3/4 breath in, and as we breathe out, we start to connect into that pelvic floor, feeling that lift through the center of your diamond or your tent, and then releasing. Good. And you might find that contraction becomes a little stronger with each exhale. But as we did in antenatal, it's still really important that we let that pelvic floor relax on that inhale at this stage as well. Because even these subtle movements can be quite strong if you're using this within a few days of giving birth. Good. Last breath here. And then just allow the pelvic floor to fully release. And then just gently rock those knees side to side. Again, no big movements, particularly if you've had a C-section. Don't let those knees flop out too far from the body. Just a gentle way to just massage through the lower back. So keep practicing. Again, remember, you can do it laid down, you can do it sat, you can do it laid on your side. And remember the simple bits of care, particularly if you have a diastasis, that I'm coming into side lying before I work my way up into sitting versus just coming up through that crunchy. So at this stage, don't put too much pressure on yourselves to do exercises all day, every day. You've got enough to be getting your heads around at the moment. So just don't put that extra pressure on yourself. But if you have a moment and you're feeding or you're laid in bed, just stop. Even if you just take a nice big breath in, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and just let go. That's like pressing reset. But if you just get a chance, even just 5 or 6 repetitions of that breath with some early activation in the pelvic floor, then that's great. You might find that the pelvic floor work is just a little bit strong for you at the moment. So just work on that inhale and exhale. And when the body is ready, it will start to heal and engage in that pelvic floor a little easier. So this is our 0 to 2 weeks introduction, but I'm now going to work on some stretching and some early strengthening that will take you from your 2 weeks onwards.